Iron Fist, man, Danny Rand, martial arts, Kunlun, Kung Fu, Iron Fist. I was excited when the series was announced for the Defenders Netflix shows, and I was looking forward to it. I thought the trailers looked pretty good. I was happy with the casting and all that kind of business, and I'm only familiar with Danny Rand from the Power Man and Iron Fist comic. I feel like I had a pretty good sense of who he was, like how he is as a person, how he interacts with others. Now, me personally, I was completely fine with Danny Rand remaining as to how he was in the comics, him being a white male who's rich. For me, that wasn't a problem. So I was going in with no preconceived ideas as to what this show kind of should and shouldn't be in regards to the character of Danny Rand himself. So I was quite surprised when the reviews came out and all of them were like saying that the show was absolute rubbish, it wasn't worth any of your time, that everything about it was just bad. And like, I was quite surprised because me personally, I think a lot of the Netflix shows for Marvel have been really solid. So over 2 days I watched the show, saw 8 episodes on the first day, 5 in the second, and well, I suppose this is kind of like a rant slash review of Iron Fist. So the show kicks off with Danny Rand returning to New York, like straight in there, you know, no messing about, kind of just him trying to get back to his old life and his old friends, people who he once knew. And it doesn't go so well for him. He spends a lot of time trying to prove that he is Danny Rand because he doesn't have, well, any documentation whatsoever as he was a child when the plane crashed in the Himalayas. I think Finn Jones did a pretty good job of Danny Rand. He's able to have that kind of almost boyish kind of feel to him with a heart of gold, which later actually causes friction, and I'll let you know as to why. But anyway, we meet a lot of characters in the first few episodes from his past life, especially Ward, who is, well, a complete dickhead, and he's played really well. He actually has a pretty interesting arc throughout the whole series. I thought the story was pretty decent because Danny Rand is a fish out of water in the business world. That's why there's a lot of friction caused. I liked seeing that kind of stuff. It made sense. It was pretty cool. There was a lot of martial arts in the show as well, which I kind of enjoyed the choreography, but I didn't enjoy the way it was filmed. I felt that it was kind of very choppy. Sometimes you couldn't even see what was going on, in my opinion. For a comic book character that was kind of born out of the 70s and the Kung Fu era, I expected kind of a lot more Kung Fu homages, like especially with the camera work and stuff like that, but I just never got that at any point. I think the only point where I saw a teensy bit of that is where Danny had the fight with the drunken master kind of guy. But overall the show is very average. It's not horrible, but it's not great. It's just average. Like there's not a lot of bad things I can pinpoint because it's not that much of a bad show. Like I've been saying, the story is okay. It's pretty decent. Like overall, it is just okay. And I can't quite put my finger on what it is because there's nothing 100% bad. It's just average. So I think the show got a bad rap. I don't think it was necessarily treated fairly. I think people came in with preconceived notions and ideas of what they wanted the show to be, and it didn't turn out to be those things. But there are definitely some criticisms that are valid. The fan response has been kind of mixed, which does confirm the averageness of the show. Some people have said it's better than Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. Others, not so much. They may say it's better than one or the other. And for some absolutely hate it. So overall, I don't know if this show's going to get a second season or not. I have no idea. But I think they could have kind of done more in regards to especially the fights. Just because, like I said a moment ago, the choreography isn't bad. It's just that you don't get a real sense of the stakes. There's not stakes. There's no stakes in these fights. For some reason, they just feel kind of flat. And I just wish there was more interesting fight scenes. Because, you know, in Daredevil you had quite good fight scenes. Like, they'll just do these long takes. And I think for a martial arts show, it should definitely have long takes with a lot of action taking place. But for me, it felt like, you know, when you watch old episodes of Buffy and you see kind of like, you have the long shot and you can tell it's a stunt woman, and then you have the close up and, you know, her hair's not in her face, and then you go back to the long shot and then the hair's in front of the face, and you just know it's a stunt person doing the fights. That's what it kind of felt like a lot of times to me. It's like, it just didn't hit the nail on the head, especially with the martial arts, which you'd expect it to, because it's Iron Fist. The show had multiple villains, one being Madame Gao, which I enjoy seeing Madame Gao in Daredevil. She was brilliant. So to see her here in Iron Fist was pretty cool as well. But she's only a half villain. She's not really a full-fledged villain. The main villain in the show actually turns out to be Harold Meacham, and he's certainly interesting, but I'm not 100% sure as to what his motives are. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, maybe I just missed it. But I think it was just to be, well, ever living, like Mumra or something like that. For me, one of the most interesting things was Colleen Wing, because her story arc, part of it I expected. There was another major part to it, which I don't even know if they'd hinted at earlier, but when it's revealed, it definitely made one scene earlier in the show make sense for me. I think the show got stronger as time went on, so I think definitely around episode 8 is where things got quite interesting. And I enjoyed definitely seeing Claire as well. I always enjoy seeing Claire. She's kind of the Coulson of the Marvel Netflix shows. And she was in this one quite a bit as well, in comparison to the others. She was actually part of the narrative and what went on. We also see Jerry Hogarth as well, played by Carrie-Anne Moss. It was good to see her again also. I just like the fact that all these shows are connected in ways, and it just makes it that more interesting that they're all connected, because you don't know who's going to pop up where and when, and in regards to what. If the show does get a second season, I would definitely like to see better choreography, better filming of the fight scenes. I'd want Danny to become more competent at being the Iron Fist. For some reason, I don't know anything about Shang-Chi, but I would like to see Shang-Chi thrown in there. I'd like to find out a lot more about Kunlun as well, because we barely get to see it. Like, the only time we really see it is kind of one time in a later episode, and you see it from afar as well, but we don't get to find out a lot about Kunlun. I mean, perhaps it won't even get a second season. Maybe they will do Power Man and Iron Fist, Luke Cage and Iron Fist series, instead of kind of giving everyone a solo season or something like that. I don't know, they've got options. I don't think they messed this up too badly, but it's just a shame that they didn't hit, in my opinion, 4 home runs. Obviously, I'll still be watching The Defenders when it comes out, I think in November. I'm definitely psyched for that. I just hope there's kind of, well, improvements to Danny Rand. I definitely would have loved to have seen a version of the Iron Fist costume, like such as you could have had a scene whereby Danny's in a dojo and he needs something to train in, and they just throw him like a Game of Death looking green and yellow tracksuit. That easily could have been done, and you know, it could have just been a little nod. That's all you need, a little nod these days, and that's it. Some people are quite gutted that it wasn't in the costume at all. It wasn't imperative, but it just would have been nice. A nice little nod is all. Overall, I kind of liked a fair amount of the show. It is a slow burner, but so are the rest of the Marvel Netflix series. None of them hit the ground running straight away. They lay a foundation, and then after that, that's when things get way more interesting. Unfortunately for Iron Fist, they had to give Danny a reason for him not to be able to use the power of the Iron Fist, which was a bit flimsy. It did work, but it may be something that people wouldn't pick up on as to why. I mean, this version of Danny is very fresh. He's not 100% trained. He's kind of new to being the Iron Fist, and he's not even learned all of his powers yet. Like, he can't even heal people to begin with. I'd have to give this show as a whole like a C-. This show is like that kid in school who consistently gets a C and they never go above that. They're not a bad student and they're not a good student, they're just a consistent C, and that's why I definitely give this show a C rating. Just because it's okay to watch if you've got nothing else to do and you want to binge a show, but it's not going to blow you away, unfortunately. So yeah, it's interesting. Hopefully the defenders will be top notch and won't let us down. If you agree, disagree, you can sound off in the comments. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.